Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Frauenfeld Gak Nang. It's round 16 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. It's the Swiss Grand Prix, or the MXGP of Switzerland, to give it its proper name, presented by iXS. 1,650 meters long, the racetrack here, generally flat but very technical. The ground very loamy, rich soil, some nice jumps, some off-cambers, a little bit of elevation, but at the same time, it's a very technical place to come, and in the past we've had some very surprising results here over the years. Not so much in MX2, but in MXGP, certainly we have. It's never been clean-cut. I don't think anybody's ever gone 1-1 apart from Max Anstey in 2016 in the MX2 category. So, we're going to see that here today. Well, of course, quick aerial view of the racetrack as it currently is right now. That's where we are, right in the north of the country, about an hour from Zurich, probably less. And the riders out on track on their sighting lap as we speak. Before we go anywhere, though, certainly with the action from race 2, let's catch up with what happened in MX2 race 1 a short while ago. This 1,650 meter long racetrack certainly threw up one or two surprises. Went a little bit like this, actually. So the gate dropped over on the far side. Jorge Prado picking up his 20th, yes, 20th foxhole shot. Only just, though. Anthony Rodriguez around the outside, but not so lucky. At the back, Thomas Kjær-Olsen and Zach Pichon. 2 KTMs were first and second, but then they were split pretty quickly by Anthony Rodriguez on the Khmer Yamaha. Covington was in 4th place for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, and Samuele Bernardini on the Astos 4 Taser Yamaha. His first outing since moving from TM. Michele Chervelin, Ben Watson, Marshall Weltin also inside the top 7 or 8 places on the opening lap of the race. Weltin backed following Chervelin as Hunter Lawrence made his way through into 5th place. And Valandren had a technical DNF whilst in 7th place on lap 2. Chervelin made a move on Rubini under the watchful eye of Weltin, but this was the moment that Jonas found his way past the 61 of Prado. Eventually went through into the lead on lap 6. Watson was a frustrated figure behind Chervelin, but eventually the Brit did go through, second time of asking, into 6th place. That's where the Khmer Yamaha rider would stay, but a great ride for the KTM Silver Action rider, 118, Stefan Rubini from France. He came home in 7th. 1 or 2 lucky moments for the number 1, Paul Jonas, but the Red Bull KTM rider managed to stay clear. Covington had several attempts at trying to pass the 127 of Rodriguez. Eventually his opportunity came. 3 laps from home, Covington was now in 3rd. Jonas was in control at the head of the field, but Prado making 1 or 2 mistakes in the latter stages of the race. This one here, where he was slightly offline into the wall jump, but it was a convincing win in the end from Paul Jonas. Jorge Prado was 2nd, Covington 3rd, Rodriguez and Lawrence, your top 5. MX2 riders making their way to the line then, of course, in the order in which they qualified. But let's go down to Lisa.
Hello and welcome to the start of the second MX2 race of the day. Now, I actually have a special guest with me. It's Dominic de Boerman. Thank you for joining me. Firstly, just tell us, how special is it for Switzerland to be hosting such a fantastic event as the Motocross World Championship?
Yes, I'm very happy we have in Switzerland such a cross. It's not the first time, and I hope it's not the last one. And we have many problems to lose, and I hope it was a success for my country. We have a lot of excellent riders in all categories, and this is the reason why I hope.
Now, I know you're a huge fan of motorsport, and the fans here in Switzerland are amazing. We can hear them behind you. Such a great atmosphere here.
Oui, j'ai aussi une passion personnelle pour la moto. J'ai deux motos, je roule sur la route. Et pour moi, la moto, c'est la vie. On doit mesurer sa propre responsabilité et en même temps prendre beaucoup d'initiatives pour être le premier. C'est une image de la personne humaine et c'est la raison de cette passion qui est partagée par très nombreux Suisses d'ailleurs. Compte tenu de notre population, c'est fabuleux.
Dominic, thanks for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, the next rider I'd like to speak to is Kemia Yamaha officials Anthony Rodriguez, one of the front runners of that first race. Now, I have to say, you were running in third for pretty much most of that race with the front runners, Paul Jonas, Jorge Prado. Firstly, it must be a good learning curve for you as well, being up there and staying with them as well.
Yeah, 100%. I had a good start, and I'm like, well, it's time to make it work. This is the opportunity I've been looking for, so I took advantage of it. I played it really good, actually. I was really happy with it. The last few laps, I went into safe mode.
Yeah.
This is something you don't want to do when you're racing. You can never do that, but I couldn't help it. It just jumped in my head. But, yeah, I gave up that third place to Thomas, who was also riding really good. But it was a really good race overall. I showed my speed and continued to work that way and hopefully get better continuously.
Just tell us, how much energy did you actually use up staying with the front runners as well? It couldn't have been easy, especially under these weather conditions.
Actually, surprisingly, I wasn't like holding my breath or anything like it at the beginning to stay with them.
Right.
And then I felt my heart rate going up just a little bit, and that's when they started to make a gap. But it took a long time before I got to that point.
Right.
And then once I got to that point, I played it smart and I pushed where it was still safe. And then, like I said before, I saw the pit board that said 5 minutes left, and I'm like in a really good position. I don't want to give it away. Again, that's something I shouldn't have done, but it happened.
Yeah, well, great job and best of luck for the second race.
Appreciate it.
Okay. That's Anthony Rodriguez there. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MX2, race 2.
Thank you, Lisa. Fantastic job, as always. And good to have Mr. Dominic de Buymen, the President of the National Parliament of Switzerland, alongside us as well. We had the opening ceremony just a few moments ago.
To the family, Ledera, and all the people that are related.
At the opening ceremony here at the 16th round of the FI Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Switzerland, here at Frauenfeld-Gagner. We had all kinds of things going on. Speeches on stage, parachute jumpers, bell ringers, a display from the Swiss Army Force, or the equivalent of the Red Arrows back home, but a very, very fantastic display, noisy one as well, just to get this thing up and running. But great to have one or two dignitaries here as well. But here's how the riders go to the line for MX2 Race 2, the same as Race 1 as always. That dependent on how they qualified, of course. Qualifying race on Saturday was won by Jorge Prado, Hunter Lawrence second, Thomas Covington, the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, the American third, then it was Jonas, Thomas Olsen, Ben Watson. And there is Paul Jonas focusing ahead. The task at hand for race 2. Jorge Prado arrived here with a 28-point lead after 15 rounds of action, but after one race here in Switzerland, his teammate got the better of him and takes 3 of those points back. So 25 points between Prado and Jonas. Thomas Olsen still third in the championship, although Ben Watson did manage to pull a few points on him in race 1. Not as many as he would have hoped for, though. He came home in 6th, and Olsen came home in 10th, so that gap's still pretty decent. There is Thomas Covington, a good effort in moto number 1. He eventually came home in 3rd. It took a lot of persistence to find his way past the Yamaha of Anthony Rodriguez, but he did. He stuck to the task, and he made it happen, and he has a chance of being on the podium. The question is, what step will it be? Over the years, we've only had, what, 6 US winners of Swiss Grand Prix. The first of those was 1975, actually. Jim Pomeroy on his Bull Taco at Wohlen in the 250 category. But Johnny O'Mara was also a winner at Frauenfeld, just about the other side of town here on the original circuit in the 125 class. We've also had Billy Lyles, Donny Schmidt, and Trampas Parker winning twice, of course, over the years. Ken Covington add his name to that US win list here. The 5-second board has turned. MX2 race 2, 30 minutes plus 2 laps. A quick gate drop here. And once again, Prado heading towards the front, but does he go too tight? Looks like he may have just about lit the candles there again for the 21st time, but we'll have official confirmation of that a little later on in the race. But leading clearly, it's Watson there in second position. Rubini to the outside, dropping into second on his KTM alongside the Yamaha of Watson. Jonas in fourth and Kaylee Chervelin in fifth in yellow. But Watson drops into second place at the bottom of the hill. Rubini, everybody queuing up into that turn. The Kawasaki of Marshall Welton, the American, in there as well in sixth place. Where is Covington? He's in 13th. So we've got Prado, Watson, Rubini, or Jonas now, then Rubini, then Valandren. So a DNF in race one for Calvin Valandren. But the number 10, he'll be looking to make amends for that performance. There was Lawrence as well, number 96, just inside the top 10, probably 9th place. Then we've got Bernardini, Filotti, Rodriguez, Covington 13, Hardy Ruzio 14, Van Donik, Pessoa, who got a noise penalty in race one. And then we have DeWaal, Sakina, Jacobi and Kirch. Ah, look at Prado. He knew exactly what he was doing there. He shut the door on his teammate, good and proper. A little bit of gamesmanship starting to creep into the tactics over there at KTM, it would appear. But Prado making that work to his advantage. He's about 20 kilos wet through, this kid. Skinny as a rake, but he's strong as well. His teammate's got himself into second, so just like it was in race one, we're set up for game, set and match in race two. If it stays like this, of course, at the end of the race, Prado will still back those 3 points. It'll be 28 points going back into the next round. And here's how Jonas found his way by the Kamiya Yamaha of Watson. At the end of the waves, finally made the pass stick. Hunter Lawrence around the outside and then the inside at the 56 of Marshall Welton. Welton having a fantastic Grand Prix here this weekend so far. 8th in race one, just been passed there for 5th by Hunter Lawrence. The Honda 114 Motorsport rider here in white, now into 5th place. Prado leads Jonas by 3 seconds at the head of the field. Watson 3rd, Valandren 4th. Welton is now 6th because of that pass on Lawrence, by Lawrence. Olsen 7, Chervelin 8, Rodriguez 9, and Filotti 10. They're queuing up in that bottom corner. Bernardini just behind them. And then Covington, Van Donik. So Covington up to 12th place. But this is going to be the intriguing battle here. The 61 and the number 1. And he's already got his head down, hasn't he? Prado not leaving anything to chance and making quick work of everybody at the moment. It's the 96 of Hunter Lawrence. Goes around the outside of Valandren. This is where Valandren's bike stopped in race one, taking out a lot of those deep ruts, so that's just opened it up a little bit, kept the corner speed higher. There were some deep, gnarly ruts through here as well in race one. Looks like they've just probably fluffed that around a little bit as well. Likewise here to the outside. And that might work in the favour of Lawrence. He gets good drive, he uses that slingshot perfectly. But factory HRC Honda compared to the Geico-engined or tuned engine of Hunter Lawrence, I should say. Over there, that's what they're using at Honda 114. We're going to go around the outside of Valandren low and doesn't make it stick. He'll try again, a little bit front end high through that 3-wave section low. Again, Lawrence having a fantastic Grand Prix this weekend. Looking more like his usual self, but it's still Prado who leads. Fastest lap of the race as well. Puts more distance between himself and his teammate. A 56.4, a 58.4, 2 seconds in fact. That gap now 5 seconds between the two KTMs. Watson is 3rd. Here he is on that blue Kamiya Yamaha. Then Valandren for HRC. Just there, number 10. In 4th place, the Honda of Lawrence is next in 5th. Just lost a little bit of ground there in those few corners. Welton for F&H Kawasaki Racing, 6th. Then Olsen, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, 7. Chervelin for SM Action MC Migliori is 8. Rodriguez 9. Covington 10. Bernardini 11. Pessoa is 12th place for Bike at DRT. Kawasaki, then Van Donik for Team Diga Procross. As Lawrence all over the back of Valandren again. Here's TKO, Thomas Kjær Olsen. Closely followed by Chervelin as they head up into that left and then the little split section. Welton goes to the outside, just looking to maintain as much momentum as possible. Not an easy, not a difficult triple to get over on the exit of that turn, but doing his best to not stop and start. There's Valandren, still there in 4th place. These two, Valandren and Lawrence, were 7 and 8 seconds behind the race leader after that first official full lap. Steady race for Watson in race 1 to get home into 6th place, but would like to get a top 3 finish here if he can in race 2. Been a while since race 1 in Semarang, the second of the 2 Indonesian Grand Prix in Asia, the Asian Grand Prix. Just needs to settle down. Olsen has found his way past Welton as they came over the line. There he is. And Welton looking to charge back down the inside of the Great Dane. Sun is out, almost 30 degrees here today. We had a big rainstorm on Friday night for about 3 or 4 hours, around about sort of 4 or 5 o'clock-ish in the afternoon, and then we expected rain yesterday, never got it. So when the track was prepped, a lot of water went down. You can see it's chewed up nicely. Very technical element to it now. Prado continues to extend his lead over Jonas. He's got the start. He's gone a 1:55.9 compared to a 56.3. 5.4 now, that gap between JP and PJ. There's Chervelin, 7:47, and Rodriguez looking to find his way past the Chervelin Yamaha, but looks like he's come under attack. He has from Covington. So Covington making his way forward. He's up into 9th now. He still believes a podium is possible. At the moment, as it stands like this, Prado and Jonas here, 1st and 2nd, would be 1st and 2nd overall, with a 2nd and a win and a 2nd and a piece. And that would be 47 points. Watson would be 3rd overall at the moment on 35, Lawrence on 32, Covington on 31, and Rodriguez on 30. So in the next 22.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, it will be very interesting to see how this turns out. But it's Prado, Jonas, Watson, and Valandren with Lawrence in 5th. 22 minutes to go. Thomas Covington, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, crosses the line now in 9th place, just behind Michele Chervelin. The Yamaha SM Action MC Migliori rider in yellow. Another great start. He was 9th in race 1. He's currently in 8th here in the 2nd race. Early stages though, approaching the 10-minute mark. Welton having a fantastic ride as well for F&H Racing. There he is in the bottom corner, number 56. This will be good enough for 7th overall, if he would have stayed there, of course. And there's Rodriguez. Covington did a lot of good work in race 1. But 3rd is where he got to. Looking to find his way past Chervelin, though, and he might work. Covington not able to advance past the 7:47, the Yamaha of Michele Chervelin ahead of him here. That's these two riders that we're looking at now on screen. The yellow of Chervelin is 8th, Covington on that white Husqvarna is 9, Anthony Rodriguez now in 10th place. But up front, Prado and Jonas still separated by about 5.5 seconds after 3 complete laps. And it looks like it's going to get bigger as well, because a personal best in sector 1 and 2 of the fastest sectors in sector 2 and 3. Prado is looking at another lap record here, and it is a 55.1, fastest lap of the race for Prado. Jonas over the line now 7.5 seconds back, so advantage Jorge Prado, and he's looking like he's going to keep that 28-point lead intact as we head to Bulgaria in a week's time. There's Calvin Valandren. He's in 3rd. Hunter Lawrence just behind him. So 2 KTMs, 2 Hondas, the Yamaha and Husqvarna. That's what it looks like at the moment. Watson now in 5th place. So not sure what happened to Watson, but he's lost a couple of positions. 19.5 minutes plus two laps to go. Jorge Prado pulls Jonas now 7.5 seconds apart. Verlander and Lawrence have found their way past the Yamaha here. Ben Watson, who's now in 5th. Thomas Olsen all over the back of him there, number 19, in 6th on the Husqvarna. Behind them, Marshall Welton, the US rider for F&H Kawasaki. He's in 7th. Chervil in 8th. Covington up to 9th. Anthony Rodriguez is 10th. The Brazilian Gustavo Pessoa is 11th. Then we have Samuele Bernardini, 12. Brent Badadonic, 13. 14 is Bas Varsen of the Netherlands. Simone Fillotti of Italy. Then Henry Jacobi, Howadi Ruzior, Richard Takina, Oriol Casas, and Anton Goal. But Watson, with his hands full, trying to fend off the challenge from number 19, Thomas Olsen. Another second fastest sector of the lap for Jorge Prado. Might be another fastest lap of the race as well. He's just been banging them out all the way through. 3 out of the 4 laps. So it might be that that happens again. Going to be a long race this for Watson. Over the line, though, for the 5th time. Gap continues to increase. But Prado and Jonas are now on the same lap time. So, has Prado gone off too early? Because 55s were the fastest laps, so 56.2 that time. 56.6, so only 4 tenths in it. But at least Jonas is getting his lap times down to within a couple of tenths of his teammate. That might just steady the gap. Might give him a little bit of confidence as well. 17.5 to go. From a neutral perspective, he could do with just taking the race win here, picking up the overall, going from 25 to 22 points as we head to Bulgaria. Of course, this weekend here, round 16 of 20 of the FIM Motocross World Championship. And we are in a trilogy, the first of a trilogy of Grand Prix. Switzerland, Bulgaria, Turkey, 3 on the bounce. Before we get a week off, before going to Assen in the Netherlands, a week off, then Italy, then the Monster Energy Motocross of Nations at Redbud in the US. Anyway, let's go down to Kawasaki. Here's Mark Deruva.
Mark Deruva, we've got Marshall Welton running in 7th at the moment. Strong first moto for him. Just tell us, what sort of feedback did he give you after that first race, and how do you see this race panning out?
Well, he was exhausted. He was very tired. It was hot, and you know, he's in the mix with guys that he's normally never in, and this is something new for him, and he's doing a great job. I'm very proud of him. It's very good.
Best of luck. Thank you.
Yeah, and that echoes what we were saying about Anthony Rodriguez in race 1, up there behind the 2 KTMs in 3rd for all but 3 laps. You know, that's another level higher than you're used to racing. And it just gives you that confidence, knowing that actually, you know what, even if I stay here for 5 laps, that's 5 laps more than I've ever gone before. He's now into lap 6. This is lap 7 that we're coming towards the end of, is it? No, lap 6. So Marshall Welton in 7th. Covington is now up into 8th place. Number 64 there, as he goes in pursuit of a podium. Hunter Lawrence on the podium at the moment. Right, this is Covington on Chervil. That was the move that put the, I was going to say, put the American, past the American there, into 7th place then. So now we have Prado, Jonas, 8.2 seconds apart. Verlander in 3rd, Lawrence 4, Watson 5, Olsen 6, Covington 7, and Welton is in 8th place. Where he was, because Covington has lost the advantage. Welton has gone back through. Got it all to do again. Rubini is out. Shame, because Stefan Rubini was enjoying this Grand Prix here in Switzerland, but look at this, the battle of the 2 Hondas, full factory HRC, the lead rider in that shot, number 10, Calvin Verlander, the Dutchman, and a member of the trio of riders that will be riding for the Netherlands at the Monster Energy Motocross of Nations in October in Redbird. He'll join he'll join Glenn Koldenoff and Jeffrey Hurlings, of course. Is he going to be the missing link? Who knows? Second in the last 2 years in that competition. Hunter Lawrence, a class winner last year in MX2 at Matterley Basin at the same event. Satellite Honda, no private, no factory help. But this is down to riding technique. This is down to being tenacious, outfoxing your opponent. Valandren can hear the Honda alongside him, up on the pegs. Lawrence is going to, well, he's been committed to the outside. Valandren knew exactly what he was doing there. He was half expecting Lawrence to come up the inside. As soon as he realised he was to the outside, just rolled on the throttle, kept him out there. He waited for Lawrence to commit to that, actually. Lawrence now starting to get frustrated. The Australian trying to find his way past the South African, who now runs under Dutch flag and rides with a Dutch license. He's got joint nationality, of course. It's 50-50 in that respect. Lawrence looks to go around the outside this time. Worked yesterday, that line, actually. He's having to jump long, and he's got a good line through here, but he'll, oh, nicely done. He wheelies over that little knuckle and takes that third away from Valandren. That'll catch the eye of the factory bosses, of course. Got on the podium at the opening round. Third overall, but Covington is back past Welton. Here he is, back up to 7th then. This is how Covington made the move. Out of the left, same part of the racetrack as we saw a moment ago, but he just kept it a little bit wider, a little bit smoother. A lot tighter going in that turn, but a good job there from the 64 of Covington. Right, keep an eye on his lap times, 57.5, same as Prado then, and the gap between Prado and Jonas now coming down, 6.7 seconds. Lawrence sets his personal best lap of the race at 55.7. He's only 6 seconds behind Jonas as well. So all of a sudden, we could see Lawrence making a real push to the front now that he's got clear track. And likewise for Thomas Covington here. 8 seconds behind his teammate, Thomas Olsen. But are we going to see that gap come down over the next few laps? It's going to be tight for the podium as well. But 12 minutes to go. Prado still leads just. Up on the pegs and then back down into the left-hander. Gap between first and second continues to hover around 6 or 7 seconds. But Lawrence, with that move on Valandren, gave him 2 vital points, puts him on to 36. Covington has been making passes. He's got to 34. That's where it was a moment ago. But Covington needs now to pick off at least 2 riders because of where he is, because 18 points for 4, 16, 15. He's on 14. Still going to make it work for him, though. Be a hard day if he does. Ben Watson doing a fantastic job in that 5th place on his Khmer Yamaha here, riding number 919, the lead rider in that shot. Fending off Thomas Kjær Olsen. Number 19 for Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. Being urged on as he goes by the crew down there in pit lane. Gap coming down between Prado and Jonas, though. 4.7 seconds as Jonas sets his fastest lap of the race. A 55.6 compared to a 57.6 of Prado that time around. Again, he opens up a gap, makes a mistake, comes back. Jonas will be hoping for more of that. There he is on the tabletop in the background. He'll see that that gap is less than 5 seconds now. As he goes through here, he'll see Prado to his left. Keep an eye on the splits. Pulls the 10th back on sector 1. but that's not enough. He won't give up, though. Neither of these two will give up the fight. Just under 10 minutes, plus 2 laps to go. MX2 race 2 here. The MXGP of Switzerland, Frauenfeld-Gagnac, presented by iXS. We just saw Dirk Grubel there, team manager to this guy. Number 1, Paul Jonas, in that side of the Red Bull garage, issuing orders down below. Prado, his teammate, was a 1:57.6 that time around on lap 9. We're now on lap 10. Jonas was a 1:55.6. He got the gap down to less than 5 seconds. But Prado looking to respond again. You can only assume that it was a mistake from the young Spaniard, because he has gone fastest in sector 2, the fastest sector time, by 4/10. So the gap is hovering about 3/10 in favour of Prado at the moment. 28.0 and then 27.7, so pulls it back. A similar lap time, I think. Depends what happens in the final sector. Might almost be like for like. Prado, 56.495. Jonas, 56.392, so 1/10 in it. That gap, 4.6 seconds. That is the gap between first and second. Exit the turn, enter the turn. Hunter Lawrence at 57.2 might have to settle for that 3rd place. These two guys keep pushing themselves forward. Hunter Lawrence, who was 5th in race 1. Last time we saw him inside the top 3 was in race 1 at round 1 in Argentina, where he finished 3rd overall with a 2nd and a 6th. Thomas Olsen still hasn't yet found his way past Ben Watson. These two still fighting over 5th place. Covington about 8 seconds behind, lapping a second or so quicker. Going to run out of time, isn't he? It's not good enough for the podium either. Right, decisive switch from one side of the track to the other for Thomas Olsen. But it didn't work, but it might still work. Up on the pegs, through those deep ruts and holes. Might jump long and close the door, and that's exactly what he does. And that is exactly what was happening yesterday in the qualifying race. So from 6th to 5th place, here's Prado with a back marker, Loris Friedrich, and any touch? Oh no, he just had to pull out there. To be honest, to be fair to Friedrich, I don't think he really knew that Prado was there. Prado just wasn't able to get over the double. And the thing is, when you ride against the back markers like that and the wild cards, you don't see them on a regular basis. Look how he's gripping the bike with his, he's on the balls of his feet, on his toes, really hugging the bike there as he came into that final turn. But yeah, when you're not sure what the rider ahead of you is going to do, then all of a sudden, that means you're hesitant to go jump as well, because you expect them to jump, but they don't. You land on them. It's carnage waiting to happen. Anyway, 4 seconds between Prado and Jonas. Jonas pulled back about 6/10 that time. He is closer, a lot closer than he was a lap or so ago. Are back markers starting to affect the outcome of this race here from Prado's perspective? There was a point early on in the race when Prado was here and Jonas was right at the top of the hill, jumping down before the city bridge. As he looks up now, you'll see him disappearing to his left. You'll see him, look, he's on the same track, same part of the racetrack. Back markers again, having to move out of the way. But it's Prado, Jonas, Lawrence, Verlander, Olsen, Watson now 6, Covington 7, about 6 seconds behind. Watson 2 seconds quicker as well. Still time for him to get on the podium here, Covington. Still a tall order. Might be relying on other things happening around him. Is it 4 seconds? What do you think? This gap between these two. If he pulls this off, Paul Jonas, this will be one of his finest rides. He's had to work here. His teammate this year has not made it easy for him at all. He's come from behind. At one point, he was 45 points behind. He's now 28 clear. Gap 3.9 seconds, so not a lot. Lawrence still third. 9 seconds further back. Then Valandra. Then Olsen, Watson. They're all over the line, having completed 12 laps. And then Covington goes through in 7 with his fastest lap of the race. Back markers once again, but who will that affect the most? On lap 13, will it be Prado or will it be Jonas? Well, Jonas has found his way past the one there that might have impinged on him slightly. Difficult to say, though. Here's Jonas. He will not give up. He knows his teammate won't give up either. Covington still in 7th. Rodriguez 8. Welton 9. Good enough for 8th overall. Chervelin 10. Van Donnick 11. Varson 12. Gustavo Pessoa. Unlucky in race 1, actually, for Bike It DRT. Lost 5 positions for failing noise control, which was a shame because he would have finished in 17th. Got docked, got pushed out of the points to 22nd, did the Brazilian. Which obviously feels very comfortable around here. Anyway, Jonas, I think, has gained on his teammate here. 57.6 and a 57.1. 3.3 seconds now, the gap. Again, it's visual. Just encourages him to push that little bit more. It encourages Prado to push and risk making a mistake. Oh, big panic rev there from Jonas as he came into land, got a little kick on that takeoff. Oh, that gap is coming down. It might not be enough. Great effort, though, from Jonas. And I bet he's not afraid to dish out the elbows either, because he'll look at that and say, well, my teammate came across me on the line, but got the jump, and you're able to do that, then you do it. It's kind of one of the unwritten rules of racing. No one says you have to stay straight until the first turn. But he's putting up a great fight. Well, both these guys are, actually. And it might be a Red Bull show here in MX2, but they are providing us with some great racing all the same. A minute and a half to go, plus 2 laps. MX2 race 2 at this 16th round of the FI Motocross World Championship. We are at the MXGP of Switzerland at Frauenfeld-Gachnang, presented by iXS. This is a gap between first and second, about 80 meters or so. Maybe not even that, as Jonas monos his way through the waves. There's Jonas and his teammate just out of sight. It was 3.3 seconds at the start of lap 14. 2 corners later, we'll get a reading, and it's gonna be 3 laps to go. Race 1 was 17 laps, so the same distance will be covered here in race 2. There's Misha Boy DeWaal, number 34, riding for the Jumbo No Fear Farmo Honda squad. He's going to be a lap down in 20th place. The gap 2.6 seconds now, a 58.1, a 57.4. Every 10th of a second counts from here on out. DeWaal should know these guys are there. Yeah, look, he's already coasting to the outside. Allows play to go on between the 2 championship leaders and race leaders. Here's Covington. He is in 7th place, and he's got Watson ahead of him. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, for the podium, though. A 2.6 second gap has come down to nothing. There's Prado, there's Jonas. As we charge downhill, we're getting ready We're a lap and a half from the finish here. Jonas has got to put everything into this. So too has Prado. These two are putting everything on the line here. A lot at stake, because as it stands right now, Prado arrived here 28 points clear of his teammate there, number one, at the start of the weekend. Jonas pulled 3 points back with a win in race one. It's now 25, but if it goes like this, they share a win and a second apiece. It goes back to 28. And with 4 rounds to go, that is just one of those sort of scenarios you find yourself in. You keep trading wins and seconds. You're not making up any ground. 28 is a big number to deal with. 25, meanwhile, going into this one becomes 22. I'll tell you what, Prado was off the side of the track there, wasn't he? Kicking up a lot of dust off the race line. I think Jonas and Covington's done Ben Watson as well. He jumps long, look at that. Had to commit to that, and he does, and he takes 6th away from the Englishman. .59.7 and a 2:0. The gap 2.9 seconds. 3/10 pulled back by Prado. And I was about to say, as we head into the penultimate lap here, I think Prado just has enough for Jonas. This is why as well, look, just goes into, oh! That's where he lost his 3 or more tenths. Artistic endeavour there. Full score of 10. He wants 25 points though, that's what he wants. These two are on the limit. Absolutely are. He's doing the maths inside that helmet of his, Paul's Jonas. He knows what's at stake. So too does Prado. Prado can maintain a 28-point gap at the head of the field. Jonas can get it to less than 25 as we go to Bulgaria in a week's time. We're approaching the 1 lap board. Hunter Lawrence, meanwhile, is only 8 seconds further back, quicker than the 2 leaders for Honda 114 Motorsports. Calvin Villanovan 6 seconds further back on the factory Honda for Team HRC. Then we've got Thomas Olsen and Thomas Covington, the 2 Rockstar Energy Husqvarnas, and they are only 3 seconds apart. Covington could do with that, but that only gives him the same points as Hunter Lawrence, still keeps him off the podium because Lawrence is 3rd in the race. A gallant effort that's going to fall flat, though, for the Aussie. Here's Prado. Easy on the gas, up on the pegs through those deep ruts. He enters the final lap now. Lap 16 is complete. Prado, a 58.3, a 59.3. That gap now almost 4 seconds. Some serious hard-edge bumps there. Both guys getting a little bit of head shake. Don't see that too often these days. But that is a deficit that Jonas has to make up now as he goes into the final lap. And it's back to all square as it was. 28 points before the start of the weekend. Here is Jonas. No change behind them. Lawrence still 3rd, Villana in 4, Olsen 5, 6, Covington here, number 64. He's got his teammate just ahead of him. He'll be disappointed not to be on the podium here. Could have joined a long list of American winners here in the past that go back to 1975. Jim Pomeroy in the 250 category at Wohlen. We've also had the Osho, Johnny O'Mara winning here at Frownfield, actually, just up the road on the old circuit. 1982, that victory for Johnny O'Mara. 1990, no, probably the best year for American wins in Switzerland. They took the 125, 250 and 500 categories with Donny Schmidt, the late Donny Schmidt, winning in 1990 at Wohlen. Trampus Parker winning 250 at Rotherham, and Billy Lyles winning Payerne, just about 100k from here, actually, in the 500 category. First GP of the year, second GP of the year, I think that was then. Trampus Parker's won twice as well. He also won at Payerne. So 6 victories, and Thomas Covington not able to get on the podium here, not able to add his name to that impressive list of American winners. But this guy here, Jorge Prado, will cross the line. And you know what? He'll be the first MX2 KTM victory here this weekend. We've had 125 winners. Of course, James Dobb was the last winner at Roggenburg in 2001. But Jorge Prado, he is spent. He is absolutely spent here. He takes the win, he takes the overall. Jonas is second and second overall. Hunter Lawrence will be third and third overall. And that's how it finishes here in Switzerland. So we wait for the riders to come over the line then. Of course, we'll give you the official confirmation. But before this round here, KTM hadn't had a winner in MX2 because we've only been here twice. This is the third occasion. Max Anstey was the first winner in 16 on a Husqvarna. Benoit Paturel on a Yamaha last year. But James Dobb, the world champion in 2001, came to Roggenburg, won the race there when it was a one-moto format. And he was the last KTM winner in the 125 division. But this guy changes all that. And he looks like he has put everything on the line and threw everything into that race. He looks like he is physically done. Cramps, ill. He's probably going to throw up, actually. So, fortunately for him, he's got his helmet there, just unless he made a mistake and got a handlebar in the ribs or something. But he definitely looks like he's in pain. Jorge Prado. No pain, no gain, did they say? Something like that. Well, he's gained another 25 points. He's got the gap back to 28 from 25. He's also taken his 9th Grand Prix victory of the season. We'll catch up with him in a few moments' time as soon as he's ready to talk to us. But he can't speak at the moment, clearly. So we'll bring you that in a few moments' time. But as it stands right now, still 1 or 2 riders coming over the line. And then as soon as they are, we will give you the official confirmation, and then the foxhole shot, and then the podium, and the best moments, and all that jazz. So we'll come back. We'll come back to Prado. Yeah, he looks like he's about to chunder. That is what you call physical exertion right there. So if you don't feel tired after a race, that's the level you need to get to. Joking, of course. I hope he's all right. Right, he's gonna don the cap, and then we're gonna grab a quick drink, and he'll do his best to speak to Lisa Leyland, who is down there waiting very patiently. And let's hear the latest on Jorge Prado. He doesn't look like a well boy.
Jorge Prado, congratulations. Just tell us, how tough was that race for you?
Well, I got a whole shot and couldn't make a small gap. Quite decent, I was running pretty good. And the last 15 minutes, I kind of got something in my stomach and I just couldn't breathe so good. So I was kind of riding without breathing, and it was so hard, but I'm happy I made it to the finish line safe. And it was a tough race for sure, but you know, we fight till the end. I really want to get this title, and yeah, for sure, if I want to get it, I need to fight. So thanks to everyone for the support, and see you in the next race.
Great job, thank you.
Hard work for Jorge Prado today. You heard there how physically ruined he is after that performance. He just wants the title, though. He didn't want the championship going back down to 22 points with 4 rounds to go. He wanted to push it back out to 28. And the physical exertion was written all over his face as soon as he came in from the race. But congratulations to everybody down there at Decali Racing and Jorge Prado and Red Bull KTM. Overall winners here this weekend. Here's the official confirmation, though, of race 2. Jorge Prado pulls Jonas, Hunter Lawrence, Calvin Verlander, and Thomas Olsen. Thomas Covington just missing out on the podium by a point. Ben Watson and Anthony Rodriguez. 9th for Marshall Weltin. Fantastic performance from him. And Michele Chervlin, Brent Van Donnet, Bas Vossen, Henry Jacobi, Pessoa, Bernardini, Sakina, Gol, Ruziorg, Leciado, and Duval. Overall, looks like this. Prado for the 9th time this year, edging out his teammates' share of the points. Lawrence back on the podium since round 1 in Argentina. Good for the Honda 114 Motorsports team. And also for the confidence, the building, the rebuilding of Hunter Lawrence, who's had a tough time of it over the last few rounds. Watson would have gained a couple of points, lost a couple of points on Olsen. They still duke it out. Verlanderen obviously 20 down now on the Brit in 4th and 5th place. Hunter Lawrence now up to 10th. KTM dominating, though, at the top of the manufacturers' standings. Getting ready for the podium any moment now. We'll also do the Fox hole shot as well. Might be tight as well. It was very tight in all of the races that we've had. Let's take a look again. Rodriguez, Watson actually getting a great start, but Jorge Prado, he was right on the money there, wasn't he? Told us he got the Fox hole shot, and he did. Number 21. He's already nailed that down, so there'll be a nice little cash bonus making its way to him at the end of the season. And that was a start to finish race win. And so as we arrived here between Jonas and Prado, they were a moto win apart. They are still a moto win apart. Jonas on 13, Jorge Prado on 12. But third overall this weekend, riding for Team Honda 114 Motorsports, Hunter Lawrence, the Australian. Great to see him back up there. Second podium of the year. A 5th and a 3rd for the Aussie. Of course, Jonas, not sure if he's going to be disappointed. He took the victory in race 1. He looked like he was closing down on Prado. But Red Bull KTM's 1 and 2 once again. Jonas 2nd, Jorge Prado, your overall winner with a 2nd and a 1st. The same points as his teammate who went 1-2. Takes his 9th Grand Prix victory of the season. And Claudio De Carli up on the top step of the podium this weekend as well, team owner.
Le prix pour la 3e place est remis par Elena Fontabal sous applaudissements. Comité d'organisation MXGP.
The traditional Swiss cowbells are the trophy of choice here. I remember, you're always going to get one, aren't you, that's going to ring it. Remember when we won the Motocross Nations Team GB back in Roggenburg in 1994? We got slightly bigger versions of those, but they're a nice decorative ornament, if nothing else. But again, unique. They like unique trophies here, don't they? FMS president there handing out the 2nd place trophy to Paul Jonas. But for Jorge Prado, his 9th Grand Prix win of the season. And his 12th career victory delivered by Dr. Wolfgang Schrub. And he tops the MX2 podium winners, Grand Prix winners now, because he's on 12, Jonas on 11, Covington on 3, Olsen on 2, Verlanderen on 1. Rudy Huber, the city government member, handing the winner's trophy, team winning trophy to Claudio De Carli. But we still have the red plate, and it still belongs to the front of the KTM of Jorge Prado. Perfectly delivered, as always, by Mr. Tony Skillington, the FIM CMS director. And there's your top 3. Jorge Prado, Paul Jonas, and Hunter Lawrence here in Switzerland. Jorge Prado then wins his 9th Grand Prix of the year and advances his career total to 12 after his victory here at the MXGP of Switzerland, presented by iXS here at Frauenfeld-Gachnang. We'll talk to the top 3 in a moment. He looks like he's recovered himself now, but enjoy the best moments, though, between now and then. Some of the best moments then from MX2 Race 2. Of course, what a fantastic weekend for Jorge Prado, taking his 9th Grand Prix victory of the season. He's down there, so too are Jonas and Hunter Lawrence, getting ready to speak to Lisa Leyland.
Jorge Prado, congratulations, 9th overall victory. Let's talk about your race. Couple of mistakes in that first race, handing the advantage to your teammate, but that second moto, you led the way. But it was tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, first moto was tough too. Got a whole shot, Paul's past me, and I stay behind him 2 laps to go. I tried to make a small push, but I make a small mistake, so it was over. And second moto, I knew I wanted to get this win, and I pushed hard in the beginning. I had a really good rhythm, feeling was perfect, and then suddenly got some breathing problems, but I could still push and get the victory, and well, we stayed the same in the points, so it's so good. So looking forward for the next race.
Thank you. Second overall today, we have Paul's Jonas. Paul's a convincing win in that first race. Second race, you were closing the gap, perhaps ran out of time a little bit. No points lost, but you haven't gained any either.
Yeah, no, this was not a goal. You know, we wanted to come to the GP, and you know, to go 1-1 would be perfect. You know, now I went 1-2, second overall. We are still same in the points, but you know, the GPs are getting less and less. But we are not worried. You know, I just wanna do my best all for the rest of the season, and you know, things will happen how it will happen. And like in the second race, I was feeling good. You know, didn't get the best of start. Was a little bit. I was third behind Watson, so. You know, till I passed him, Jorge had some decent gap, and till I closed it, it was a little bit too late, and in the end made some small mistakes, which cost me a lot. But you know, we keep working and looking forward for next GP.
Thank you. Third overall today, we have Hunter Lawrence. Hunter, you've been strong on this track all weekend. You really look good out there in both races, and actually you've waited a long time for this podium. I think it's the first one since Argentina, is it?
Yeah, thanks. I try to look my best on the track at all times. Thank you. But no, it was a good weekend, you know, from the beginning. I felt good. I'm super pumped to be back on the podium. It feels like the last time was last year, so it's refreshing and stuff. But yeah, I'm a little bit bummed to see after the first race on the start what happened there and stuff. Would have been cool to see if I could run with those top guys from the beginning and not have to play catch up. But no, I'm happy. You know, big shout out to the team, all the boys back in America at FC Honda. You know, they helped out a lot as well, and yeah, everyone here, and my mechanic Reese, he's doing a great job, and everyone's supporting me. So yeah, can't thank them all enough. Thanks guys, appreciate it.
Great job, thanks Hunter.
Hunter Lawrence back on the podium, where he belongs actually, number 96 for Honda 114 Motorsports. Third overall here with a 5th and a 3rd. Third overall in Argentina as well, so that's some kind of gap between podiums for someone of his caliber, but he's had his difficulties during the year. Maybe it gives him the impetus to continue in that vein for the rest of the season. Second overall though, number 1, Paul Jonas took a win in a second, but his teammate, Jorge Prado, took a win in race 2 to claw back an advantage. Nothing ventured, nothing gained and all that, but Jorge Prado, second and a win, does enough to win his 9th Grand Prix of the season. He's now on 12 career wins. We'll go to Bulgaria in a week's time. A slightly different racetrack there. Lots of big hills, plenty of them. It's a long racetrack as well. Who will come out on top when we go to Bulgaria and round 17? Join us for all the action live, as always. Next up on MXGPTV.com and everywhere else in the world, we are going to be live with MXGP Race 2. We'll see you in a few months.